That musty, nicotine-stained pet urine aroma, that's not gross. That is equity. And if you know what you're doing, the worst-smelling homes make the best flips. Now, I've been buying, flipping, and selling homes since the 90s, helped hundreds of clients do the same. So everything I'm going to tell you isn't from some real estate YouTube guru who read it all in a book. It'll be real hands-on experience from years of being in the trenches. And my goal is to help you avoid these mistakes so I can make you successful purchasing these types of homes as well. All right, so how do you actually find these kinds of properties? Well, you have a few options here. First, I like to use a dedicated site like foreclosure.com, and I'll put the affiliate link down below. And yeah, it'll cost you some money, but it's also a better way of doing it than wasting hours chasing things on Zillow or just sitting around hoping that some bank-owned deal is going to magically fall in your lap. And also, here is a pro tip most people do miss. You need to call around to local real estate offices and just ask, who's the foreclosure agent? In most of these metro areas, they may have 3 to 5 agents who actually control a majority of the bank-owned listings. So you want to get on their radar and let them know you're a serious buyer, especially if you can pay cash, and put together a nice packet and take it to them, also showing the funds that you have available, and just check in with them periodically so you'll stay top of mind. And believe me, they will remember you and they will call you. Now, if you can't pay cash and you don't have a pile of cash just sitting around, and hey, most of us don't, you do have other options. Now, you do have credit unions and some small local banks, and they can be your best friends. And actually, I use a local bank here in the Denver area, and it's now a streamlined process, so I don't have to tie up huge amounts of cash anymore to buy these properties. Now, if you're looking the same way, you're going to likely need a 620 plus credit score, proof of income, and have a good plan. And they'll give you sometimes a short-term loan on the property. Some may have what they do call a construction loan, which is a 12-month loan. And others, like the bank I use, they actually have a 30-year term, and it's a fixed rate for 5 to 7 years. And it gives me that advantage to make that property a rental property if I choose to, without having to get a new loan right away, paying all those fees and so forth after I update the home. Now, another thing you can do is tap into those hard money lenders. And yeah, the rates are higher, the fees are higher, but don't get caught up in the cost right now. It's about access to money, and being able to close fast gets you the deals, period. And a lot of times you do need to close fast to get that deal. So those hard money lenders are a very good resource if you don't have that cash laying around. Now, most of these hard money lenders, they're going to lend you about 65% loan to value, and the points on those can be anywhere from 2 to 5%. So make sure that you budget all this accordingly, but it's still a great way to get started. In fact, back in the days, I started with them as well, and it got me to where I am today. Now, another option, if you own a home with equity, you can go get a HELOC or a home equity line of credit, and that gives you cash on hand that works just like cash when it comes time to purchase a property. Now, I also have HELOCs or home equity lines of credit on all of my properties, meaning my rentals, and the bank I use here, they do those on my rental properties. So you may need to find a special bank for those, as a lot of people will not do those on a rental property. But I have them all set up, and I never use them for anything except if a potential deal comes up and I just know I can access cash fast to get that deal if I have to do it. Now, if you're not already part of a local real estate investment group, you're actually leaving deals and networking on the table. And I mean, I'm being serious. These are great ways to network. And sometimes the best way to make money isn't fixing and flipping. It's actually just finding the deal and flipping that contract to someone else. And that's what we call wholesaling a deal. And it's a great way to get into real estate. All you have to do is write up the deal. You may have to put a little earnest money down, but always have that contract assignable so you can basically hand it off to a flipper right away. And then, hey, you don't need a hammer, a paintbrush, or even set foot inside that house. Just find it, negotiate it, And after you hand it off to someone who's got the crew ready to go, you're on your way to go find that next deal. And I made great money doing this until I actually decided that I wanted to rehab the homes myself. And after a while, I even came up with a formula that after every, say, fifth deal, I would keep that home to make it a rental property. And over time, you'll have a formula that works for you as well. But stick to it, as you're going to want to grow off that foundation and make yourself a nice little portfolio of real estate. Now, look, we're going to get real here. When you do your first flip, it may not be a home run. Heck, you may not even break even, or you may lose some money. But hey, that's tuition. It's the best education that you can get. And college cannot teach you real hands-on lessons like you get when you do your first flip. Now, it can be a bit scary, but once you get that first deal under your belt, you'll have so much more knowledge than you had before, and you will do more, and it will only get easier to look at deals to see if they're the right deals for you or not. Because once you go through the process and once you deal with the contractors, permits, and all the real life stuff books don't teach you, you've gained something no one can take from you, and that's experience. And that is more valuable than any seminar or course can ever teach you. Now let's look at how to deal with contractors, which is a major piece in flipping properties and so forth. And here's one of my golden rules. If you want those contractors to show up, you want them to stay on schedule and actually finish the job, you need to pay them the minute they are done. Don't wait till next week. Do it right there and then just tell them up front, finish the work, call me, I'll meet you at the house with the payment right away. And you'll jump to the front every time that you need these guys. And you're going to want to take good care of these contractors, as it takes years, and I mean years, to get that solid crew form. But once you have it, always pay on time. Never mess with your pay. They will always be loyal to you. And having a good crew will only grow your business, so it's very important. But when you're starting out, be careful. As some of those contractors, they're going to want full payment up front, as a lot of them will go and finish a previous job first, and then they'll come back to yours after they get money from, say, another job, and then they have enough to go back to finish yours. And it's just not a situation that you want to get into, or even worse, they just take that money and they never show. And trust me, that happens a lot. So just be careful out there. Now, as far as being careful, you're in the real estate game now, so you got to treat it like a business. And the one recommendation I'll say is start an LLC. It takes about 20 minutes online, maybe a few $100s, and it will just separate your investments from your personal assets. And you do not want to flip houses in your personal name. Just don't do it. And also talk to your tax professional on this one, just so you can set it up the right way. But before you venture into flipping, you need to make sure you do this to protect yourself. And also you may want to look at grabbing an umbrella insurance policy as well, to also protect yourself if something goes wrong on the job. But you just cannot protect yourself enough. So if you're buying a foreclosure and you want that to be your primary residence, well, there's a lot of programs out there, and you may, depending on where you're at, look into, say, a USDA loan. Now, these are zero down programs, but you'll need like a 620 credit score, stable job history, and you have to live in the property. And you also can access some good programs with limited money down through the FHA programs as well. But here is the key, and I used to be a lender, and the key is you need to live in the property. And I was in the lending world for 16 years, and you never want to apply for a loan as an owner-occupied home if you're planning on renting it. These lenders do their due diligence, and they will find out, and it's not a good thing to deal with when now you're dealing with mortgage fraud. So just be careful on that. And if you're buying it to live in it, then live in it. But if you're going to buy it to rent it, then you need to buy it as a non-owner occupied loan, because that is a problem you do not want to get into. Now, another thing people go back and forth on is, should you have a real estate agent or no agent? Well, can you buy a foreclosure without a buyer's agent? Sure you can. Heck, you can go straight to the listing agent. But just don't confuse saving money by going to the listing agent with being smart about how you do things. And by the way, if you need a good agent that's experienced in these type of properties, my link's down below. I can set you up with somebody in your area, or I'd love to talk to you myself. And a good experienced agent with foreclosures will set you up on alerts, help you negotiate, and more importantly, tell you what to avoid. They've all seen the mold and the structural issues, and they know the neighborhoods, so just let them work for you, and they can really help you get a great deal if they have the experience in these type of properties. So until you're well versed in flipping, that agent can be your best friend. And speaking of what to look for in houses when you're looking at them, let's talk inspections here. And just because it's a deal doesn't mean it's a good deal. I mean, let's look for mold. That can be expensive to fix and also can be a resale killer. And depending on what area of the country you're in, you may have termite damage. You also need to look at the roof for leaks or any kind of damages. And another thing, and it's big out here, are structural damages. You need to know what kind of cracks you need to look for up front that could actually be a red flag that you need to dig in further on that structural. And another thing, the flood zone designation. That can really be a problem. Actually, this year I walked away from a deal here in the Denver area as the things I needed to do to bring it out of that zone so the structure was approved was just too much, and it just wasn't worth the time and all the headaches. Now, these home inspections, they'll run you about $400 to $500, maybe a little more, but it's worth every penny. And most of the banks out there, they will give you a 7 to 14 day inspection period or even due diligence period, whatever you want to call it. And if the inspection sucks, just walk away, get your money back, move on to the next property. And when you get that house, always start those renovations on the outside first. And what I mean is landscaping. And by the way, landscaping is, I just can't even stress to you, I hate having to landscape a property I'm going to resell, as the return on investment isn't much, but at least it gets the property sold. But freshen that up, pressure wash the house off, or throw some fresh paint on. And the reason why is once the outside looks decent, then you're going to create a buzz while you finish the inside. And people driving around are going to take note. And heck, sometimes you'll get lucky. I've had this happen where people will stop, ask you if you're going to be selling the home. And sometimes you can make a deal before you're even finished. Now, as far as starting that project, the one thing you need to remember is don't over renovate the home. I mean, I've seen people just turn a house into a huge money pit because they decided they needed high-end everything, and it doesn't. Stick with quality basics. You don't need high-end light fixtures on a home that doesn't warrant that. But you do need updated flooring, some neutral paint, decent faucets, in those light fixtures that just don't scream 1985. And by the way, I have a video on home updates that I'll share in my description down below. Now, the real home run is always your square footage, layout, and location, as this is what makes buyers want to buy that home. So here's the deal. You don't need to be rich to get started flipping foreclosures. You just need a little capital, and yes, you'll need something. Wholesaling can be the cheapest entryway, and then you need the right strategy. How will you market to find these properties? Are you going to flip them? Are you going to rent them? And always keep a good eye out for opportunity. And you'll learn this as you go along, but get a good agent on your team to help. And you have to have a willingness to learn, as knowledge is power. Always be learning. And if you need to, find an investor that may mentor you, but always listen and learn. Now, you may not crush it on that first deal, but that's okay. You're building a skill, relationships, and a new income stream that can grow fast once you get the momentum going. Now, I hope this video was helpful, and if so, please share this with anybody you feel could benefit from it. Also, again, if you need somebody out in your area or you'd like to talk about this in more detail, my contact link's down below. I'd love to talk to you or set you up with somebody in your area. And also, please stay tuned for this video that is coming up next.